not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production of Glory 93.9 FM.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street.
Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Wardrobe provided by Bahari Bahamas. Visit shopbahari.com. And good morning, everyone, and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. Sorry about that. I thought I turned my cell phone down. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thanks so much for joining us on today's show. I am calling this show today Alternative Solutions, Thinking Outside the Budget Box. And, most shows I have to prepare, look for videos and, try to, figure out all what I'm going to say and all this kind of stuff, just in case the guest you have is, not too good at talking. But I had to go through none of that for the show this morning because you'll understand when you see who my guests are. My guests are here with me in studio. Now, Graham, you got to pull that microphone close to your mouth. No, don't move the camera. Okay, leave it right there. Okay, but pull the microphone close to your mouth. Right. So that's your camera right there. So my guest today is Graham Weatherford, and joining us soon. It ain't the camera ain't too bad. It ain't too bad how we adjust it. See, my producer coming in now to deal with you for moving his camera. It's okay. And you see, they gonna put this big screen in here, right? So now these guests is coming in. They could see themselves on TV.
Don't look at the camera.
So, right. So they mesmerized by looking at themselves on television. I know why they're going to put a big screen in here. But anyhow, welcome back to GPS, Graham.
Well, good morning, Michelle.
And we're going to eventually be joined by another talker. So I really ain't had to do too much work for the show today. Because these two gentlemen, they can be able to handle this. So we're just waiting for the other guest to sign on. And that is the person of C. Alan Johnson. But for now, it's just me and you, Graham. How you doing?
Well, I like what you named the show, Gargantuan Thinking. Don't get to use that word much, but gargantuan means massive.
Yes, it does.
Huge thinking. And it's not thinking outside the box because there is no box.
So you mean it even a budget box to think outside?
No, every time someone says, we got to think outside the box, I go, you are the problem. You've probably been to some higher education.
Explain that, please.
You probably went to some higher learning institution that put you in a box and taught you how to think in a box. In other words, you could go to school for mechanics, and then you can come and work for yourself for 30 years and learn tricks that were never even taught in school. So then you're ready to retire. I come and apprentice with you, never have gone to school, but I'm ahead of everybody graduating, my peers, because I have learned the tricks.
Okay.
And what does it mean? There are things that rich people teach children intentionally or unintentionally that poor people don't. And
Like?
one of those things is money.
That's true.
A car shouldn't be your biggest
Asset.
goal.
Oh, yeah, because it's not even an asset. Because the minute you drive that off the lot, it
Garbage.
degrades.
So
Yeah.
I've listened to a particular Canadian bank before COVID say, your home is your biggest investment. My home is my biggest investment? You must be crazy. Your business should be your biggest investment. But you see, we don't teach this to people.
Right.
We teach you to dress for success. You know?
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it.
Try to impress people.
And so what ends up happening is you create a nation of flammers and scammers.
Boy, and we good at flamming, eh? We are experts at flamming, boy. We good at that. Now, somebody was just trying to call, but they were calling the text line though. So let me put out the cell phone. I mean, y'all calling already. We haven't even start talking good yet.
You got to say it real slow because I'm driving sometimes and I hear blah, 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 and I'm like, oh Lord.
Okay. Thank you for that. I will slow down a bit. So the number to call, but my God, let us start talking. The number to call is 828-3543. 828-3543. Was that slow enough, Graham?
Beautiful.
Okay. And the number to text is 828-2543. 828-2543. Okay. I see where C. Allen is now in the studio. So let me add him to the stream. And there he is. C. Allen Johnson, you look like you've been to the barber.
I got rid of the afro. I've been locked in the house for the last 2 weeks, studying the budget and the data that supports the economic figures to see how close to reality we are.
Okay. So Graham says that I named this show Alternative Solutions, Thinking Outside the Budget Box. But Graham said that is a flawed name because we even ain't got no budget box to think outside. What are your thoughts on that?
I do believe that they have a box. They have a box that they're in. And so the question is thinking without limits for us. Because again, they operate within this confine of maintaining the status quo. This is where you see them trying to redesign the economic model. They're trying to repaint the cave or the box inside of the box when the limits, the potential is outside of that square that they're in.
Wow. Okay. So I invited you both here today because I know y'all always come with innovative thoughts, innovative way of thinking, and clearly we need help in this country because we are being governed by people, and I'm not just talking about this particular administration because this has been a problem for a long time in this country. It didn't just start with this administration, but we are typically governed by people who, the minute they walk into the halls of Parliament, they go through this metamorphosis. You know, like how the caterpillar starts as a caterpillar, and when they get in that cocoon, they come out as a beautiful butterfly. So they somehow see Parliament as a cocoon, and they go in there and they have this metamorphosis, and all of a sudden, they are the only ones who are capable of thought. So they dismiss everybody else, anybody else that comes with any kind of idea that could help us to move this thing along. Oh, you're just talking foolishness. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about, because all of a sudden they are the experts at everything. And this is a problem.
You know, Michelle, I want to just read one quick thing and C. Allen knows this. Failure to participate in politics means you will be ruled by your inferiors.
Ooh,
that's Plato.
That's interesting.
And that's what motivated me.
Motivated you to get back into politics?
No, just to be a part of quizzing people, holding them to their record, but not slandering them,
right,
or bashing or belittling.
Right.
Saying, listen, if you said, right, you don't know if I have to wear a mask. Now you say I have to wear a mask. I mean, which is it? You're talking with forked tongue, and that doesn't sit well with me or anyone. So you have to know what you're saying. Like when C. Allen speaks today, C. Allen's going to say, this is how we can fix Grand Bahama.
Right.
And he's going to flesh that out for you. And I keep saying, put it in the simplest terms possible, because people need to buy into it. But and I cannot fault C. Allen for anything he has ever said. Isn't that crazy? But every other person I've listened to in 20 years, I can fault them. And C. Allen's message has been the same message. Mine's been the same too.
Consistent.
If you don't have energy security, reliability, affordability,
Michelle.
sustainability, you got nothing.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, C. Allen.
No, I'm thinking that you say that they this is an example. I think it's more of a dome on them.
Okay. A what?
It's more of a dome. A dome. They go over them that they can't hear anything else, and they just hear the echoes of themselves.
Okay.
And that's the problem they're having. And so they shut out. This dome shuts out any type of communication with the outside world, regardless of who it is. They don't hear their PSs. They don't hear anything else because either that or they're taking their PSs and the public service into the dome with them. And I think so they lean to their own understanding. And so the problem is that we have been for 4 decades drinking from the same well. And if you look at today, and you go to the newspaper or you go to the news media, you could, if you mute the station and go back 10 to 20 years, it's the exact same people. I mean, cascading. And these individuals, they didn't know then. Like, let's use, for instance, you now have a discussion going on about the orange economy, blue economy, green economy, knowledge economy, conceptual economy, digital economy, and the circular economy, and these variations. Mm-hmm. These individuals, up until COVID, denied that these things actually existed. And I'm just talking about MPs. I'm talking about the talking heads in our society. Now they're the go-to experts, where they have pushed individuals like myself away for a decade or more to say, he's just making noise again. Now, I've sat and I listened to radio stations, I listened to read the media, and some of the people I know that were struggling with the concept of using cellular phones are now telling you how to build infrastructure for these economic models to work on. Good example. In Grand Bahama, we have individuals heading the tech hub for 4 years who had issues. I've helped some of them with turning on their phones in January and February of 2017. And by June and July, they were leading digital innovation and transformation of the Bahamian economy. I'm not kidding you. I had training sessions with a few of the people in it on using their cell phones at a previous employee before the F&M win. And their job now was to transform. These individuals can't properly post or interconnect with Facebook and YouTube, but they're going to build a digital background infrastructure for which these are going to run on. And that's the problem we have. And so we have this family, friends, lovers, and supporter regime, which basically has eroded the confidence or the integrity of our economy. And we have seen the reality of this now that COVID has laid bare, torn open the curtains, that we really have nothing except these two-horse pony. We have financial services and banking and tourism as we know it. And what are we doing now? We're outside getting makeup and lipstick for this pig, hoping no one notices it's still a pig.
Oh, boy. This is frightening. How do we advance as a nation if, in fact, what C. Allen said is right, Graham? How can we move forward if today I don't know how to turn on my cell phone, but tomorrow I am in charge of innovation?
Well, for years now, I almost choked on my chicken nugget when I heard them talk about the blue economy for Freeport. My mind went straight to C. Allen. I didn't even have a chance to call him and say, C. Allen, who are you talking to? Because they don't even understand what those things are. Conceptual economy, what is that? But in the paper, they say, hey, we're going to put the tax on Airbnb. You see, this level of disruption is so beautiful. I don't thank God for what has happened from Corona or from Dorian, but I thank him for disrupting tourism. And the reason for that is because we took the year of 2020 and we understood, as C. Allen said, and I said, conceptual economy. We took that year and we got everybody. Remember, we gave out $5,000, the self-help starter program,
right? And
didn't have to pay it back or whatever that fiasco was. We should have said, fix your place. Fix your place, because when tourism reopens, people don't want to go in a big boat or a big hotel and have social crowding because they're going to be scared.
Right.
Even if they're vaccinated, they could still get corona.
Right.
My whole family is in the hospital with corona today.
Wow.
In a different country, and they had the vaccine. So the thing is, right, we could have fixed our place so when we reopened, we would have opened up in a conceptual environment. We would have changed MOT. Ministry of Tourism would have looked totally different. We would have given free data, internet, Wi-Fi. We would have given whatever. You see Amazon Sidewalk? Just Google that. See, Alan knows what it is. And the tourist would have been promoting us. Instead of us having to spend $50, $100 million for ads, the tourist would have been promoting us from millions of viewpoints. See, I don't subscribe to the fact that if you say we have 7 million tourists, right? You failed, because we got 400 million people right next door to us in the US and Canada.
Okay.
I don't like that model. I don't want to turn the Bahamas into a ghetto. We are the Bahamas. Not too many places have the in front of it. The United States. It's not the Jamaica. Right? It's not the England, the Canada. So we need to bring back the Bahamas. See, Abaco, before Dorian, we didn't brag about we had 7 million tourists. No, man. We had 50, 100,000 tourists, but each one was a millionaire. And they spend some money.
Right.
Here's a $500 tip for dinner. Waiter, thanks. Oh, no, we want chicken in a bag tourists and brag about 10 million, and they find it hard to give you 35 cents for a tip. See, the model is wrong. And if we would go into every one of these government departments and restructure it for the digital and conceptual economy that Sian has been talking about, my Lord, man, 15 years now, maybe more. And I've been talking about energy from 1999 with Mike Smith doing this solar. See, I bring visuals. And the problem is you can't have anything digital. See, Alan, the most digital city you all got is because everybody got a cell phone. That's about it. But you ain't have nothing else digital in Freeport without cheap energy. And KCX just cried about that last night. So
well, that's a problem with the entire concept of any of the six different things. Our energy is not our energy reliance or weakness isn't just simply towards the digital economy. It's across everything. Energy is now a mortgage for businesses. It's the largest expense of business. Almost challenging payroll for many small businesses, for home and everything else. As to what Don said about the economic model, I don't think the economic model is wrong. I think the problem is that we have a wrong target audience. We talk about the 7 million tourists, but those 7 million tourists comes to what is called inclusive hotels. And almost 5 million of those go to an inclusive hotels. They don't need anything else except for they come off the boat, and what we have to offer them is trinkets. The inclusive hotels are called cruise ship. They get food, they get room, they get entertainment, they get all the activities. So when you begin to look at what tourism is an activity-based environment, because tourism is what people do. So what we have to do is consider that tourism is nothing more than a small demographics of what is called the hospitality industry. And so this is why when you begin to look at the fact of hospitality as an whole, I hear people talk about diversifying the economy. Diversify into or out of what? Because hospitality is the 10th largest industry in the world. Are we going to go to number 9, number 8, number 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1? We're not in a position to go to any of them. So the question is then, why don't we look at exactly what we have been missing? Hospitality. You have, and so under hospitality comes to tourism. Again, hospitality is what people experience. And so at one time in the Bahamas, we offered sun, sea, and service. We abandoned service. So now we just offer sun, and sea. And so when we go back into the concept of hospitality for what people experience, we can then look to sports tourism, health tourism, wellness tourism, education tourism, religious tourism, digital tourism. We can look at all of these different tourism models where service will be amongst it. And so one of the things is that now we must now look to building an inclusive community. And so you don't have to sit and wait for tips. That's what your workers will do, because you will actually own the business. And so the inclusivity that the Dorian and now that COVID has brought us an opportunity to rethink, because we already see the economic models that we've been using is not working. And so the question now is, how do we move now to ownership of this economy and rebuilding a new model, and begin to look at each of those 6+ models that we talk about and say, okay, now where do we place individuals? But that has to start, again, we call it data-centric environment. We don't have a SWOT analysis. We don't have a PESTEL. For people that don't know, SWOT is strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. PESTEL is political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental exposure or impact. And so what are we making decisions on? How I feel, what I think, what I was told, what I prayed for, what I hope for. No one is talking about what they know. And so that even goes to particular leadership. And so we hear people say, let's do this, let's do whatever. But the minute you ask them how, they shut down. Oh, we should be doing this. Oh, we should be doing this. Oh, we need to do this. Oh, we need to have energy. Oh, we need to have energy. Said, how? Because if you can't explain how, then you don't understand comprehensively what it is.
Yeah.
And so you must
it sounds good. All right. I want to read a comment, guys, because what I want this show to evolve to is more than just, I guess you sort of touched on it just now, C. Allen. It's one thing to say, this is what we need to do. But now the question is, how do we do it? I want us to get into some hows. But let me read this comment from one of our Facebook viewers. This person says, good morning, Michelle. I'm waiting for it to come up on my laptop, even though I see it up on the big screen. It's taking a while. Okay, here it is. It says, good morning, Michelle. You have the smartest white man and the smartest black man in the Bahamas. They have all the answers to the country's problems, but all they are is talk. In the meantime, we are falling apart. How do you gentlemen respond to that? And how do we move
Let me first respond to that. I say to Mr. Carlton Dorset, if you need the Prime Minister's phone number, you can call me, 443-7189. I have the phone number for every single PS in the country. I have the number for every MP, every senator, and every person that's been appointed to every board. And you say, talk. How do I break into another man's house and fix his problem? How do I, if you hire a gardener, do I climb the fence, push the gardener out of the way, and do what you and do the job of the person you have chosen? Why don't you call and ask your prime minister, your deputy prime minister, or whatever discipline you want, and ask them, why aren't they engaging the Bahamian people? Because I don't claim to have exclusive knowledge. What you're experiencing today is the collective intelligence of those around me and those who I hear and listen to. And so maybe they could practice the Solomon concept. But Solomon became the wisest man in the world, not necessarily for what he knew, but for what those around him knew. And if you look at Dell, if you look at Microsoft, if you look at one of the major companies and investors in the world, they are part of the collective intelligence, not leaning onto the arrogance of ignorance of one individual. And so the problem you have is not me just talking. The problem you have is with your leaders who are failing to tap into the collective intelligence of the Bahamian people.
Graham, what is your response to that person?
I'd like that person to know if they listen, they should record this show today and they should share it on Facebook to every person they know. Because today, they are correct. We are a great country at identifying problems. We could identify problems. I've been doing it for 20 years, listening to everybody cry on radio. Mm-hmm. When the airwaves were opened, that was an injustice because that just provided a platform to cry. What are the solutions is what that person is saying. Mm-hmm. Well, see, I don't know everything. And I talk to people like C. Allen who do know some things. None of us claim to know everything. Mm-hmm. But I know one thing. 25 years ago, as C. Allen just said, the light bill was getting expensive for my home and for a business. I said, we got to deal with this because I know my mortgage payment is $1,200 a month.
Right.
That's 30 years. I got to get that one straight. Mm-hmm. And people in Yellow Elder and throughout the Bahamas contacted me. They had the same issues. I said, well, I have to do something about it, not just talk about it. Because next month, my light bill came and it was $1,400. Mm-hmm. This month, it was $800. How could I live if I don't know what this bill is approximately going to be? Mm-hmm. And so I said, I have to put solar in. I did it. I had to take a loan to buy the solar. But it was worth it because I was paying $1,000 a month for an electricity bill. So when you buy the solar, it costs you $560 a month to pay for the loan. Mm-hmm. But I knew that I only had to pay $560 a month. I could bank on that. I could budget on that. People are losing their homes today. How many? 30,000, the expert said the other day on your show, 25 to 30,000 have no job.
Right.
Well, that you said it so well. The family of four, that affected 100,000 people.
Exactly.
But that individual didn't, I guess, grasp what you were saying. I did.
I think he did.
I heard you loud and clear.
I'm sure he did as well.
Well, he should have said, "I agree with you, Michelle."
No, but he can't say that because he got a job to do.
No,
I'm going to salute.
What he did, Graham, what he did was he stuck to the hard statistics, not to the cascading impact.
Yeah,
we know what he did.
He has a job to do. The man, he got a job.
But if I was in that position, I would have said, Michelle, you're right. We have 100,000 people, and we need to get these people having some ownership and back to work in tourism. But we got to lower this light bill so they could afford to do anything. They can't even promote their boutique resort in Bimini unless they have electricity on to get on social media to do it. So where does this all start? It comes with a solution of energy, security, affordability, sustainability, reliability. And if you don't have this, you think I like solar and energy? I'm a Pisces. I like to be creative, photography. I like doing things, but I got stuck and branded as this solar guy because if you don't get this energy straight, C. Allen will tell you, you will not have that tech city in Freeport. And Ragged Island, my gosh, man, we put $3 million in solar on the ground, but we ain't connected it yet. So it's a green city. We said I was going to be a green model city. Mm-hmm. Well, it is. I have to confirm it is. Mission accomplished. We had a little bit of rain. The weeds have come up. It's green.
All right, guys, we got to take a commercial break. On the other side of this break, I want us to break down, because, we hear a lot, all these orange economy and blue economy and this economy and the next economy. We need to really break this down simply so that people can really understand what we're talking about and how realistically we can tap into those various economies to turn our situation around as it relates to this humongous deficit that we find ourselves in. Graham always says he could pay our budget,
pay the national debt in 11 days.
National debt in 11 days. And people look at him and say, dude, you need to stop smoking weed.
Yes.
But we're going to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Some say he's not realistic in that projection. But we're going to talk about all of that. Because clearly, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, you're insane. And quite frankly, I think we need to call the bus. Because as a nation, we keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and then standing there in shock when nothing changed. Let's talk about some new ideas on the other side of the break. Stay with us. This is GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM.
Listen to Glory 93.9 FM for the best mix of traditional, classic, country, contemporary, and Caribbean gospel in New Providence, Bahamas.
Located on Carmichael Road, Divine Designs Hair Boutique is a haven for women and men looking for professional beauty services. Our state-of-the-art and contemporary equipment creates a relaxing ambiance for you to enjoy while we cater to you. Need a hairstylist? We cater to all types and textures of hair for care and styling. We even have a barber on duty. Need a nail tech? Our technicians provide a range of nail services, including the latest trends. Unwind in one of our massage chairs while you get your pedicure. With our reasonable rates, friendly staff, and over 20 years of experience, you will be in great hands. Call us at 823-1669 or 698-1025 to schedule your appointment. Want to be pampered? Want to be slayed? Let Divine Designs make your day.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Alive. Alive. Believe in best. And by Tropical Gyros. Not just good food, it's an experience.
And welcome back. This is GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. My guests today are Graham Weatherford and C. Allen Johnson. Let's get C. Allen back into the stream. And we are talking today, I'm calling this show Alternative Solutions. There we go. Alternative Solutions, thinking outside the budget box. That's what we're talking about today. And we are going to, I promise those of you who have been furloughed or let go from your jobs and you're sitting there wondering, what am I going to do? I promise you that we're going to be providing some real life solutions for you today. We're not just going to be talking about, you know,
pie in the sky.
Well, I don't want to call it pie in the sky because we have to obviously look at the whole system of changing the whole system in order for this thing to ever begin to work. But for a lot of people who are going through right now, they can't hear that because as far as they're concerned, I know I can feed my children tomorrow. So you're talking about blue economy and orange economy and this economy and purple economy and lilac economy, and I just made those two up. But the point is, they ain't hearing you because they're trying to figure out how am I going to survive. So we have to address those people when it comes to this whole question of thinking outside the box because many people are boxed in right now and don't see a way out. So we will, I promise you, we're going to get to that. But I want to talk about what Graham called the pie in the sky ideas, about how we can turn this deficit into a plus, how we can eliminate all of this debt without taxing our people into the ground. So how do we do this, y'all? I guess we should start by breaking down all of these economies that y'all are always talking about, the blue economy, the orange economy, et cetera, and explaining to people what it is and how we can really make it work in real terms, not in some highfalutin techno, talk, but something that people can truly understand. So where do y'all want to begin? Let's begin with the blue economy because most of our territory is water. And I want to talk about what is the blue economy and how we can make it work for all of us. So Graham, let's start with you. What are your thoughts? Well, first, let's define what is the blue economy so people can understand, and how do we make that blue turn into green in terms of green being money, although that's an American thing.
Well, my family is from Abaco and Spanish Wells, right? So there's a million things you can do. Blue economy, you have water and sea.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just be real world.
Mm-hmm.
I watch a few thousand people on an island.
Spanish wells you're talking about?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
with 500 approximately people that go out to sea crawfishing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to pay for the raw material. They don't have to go and get a fish from larvae, from an egg, grow a fish, feed a fish. So could you imagine if you were selling a product, Michelle, makeup, but you didn't have to pay for the makeup?
Right.
It's pure profit, right?
Right, yeah.
Except for a little light bill, gas, the boat, the maintenance, the staff. So it does have a cost, and it's hard work. But I watch these people share over $50 million a year.
From fishing.
I go to that island with you right now. Ain't nobody broke. The electricity doesn't go off. They need one generator, they buy 4. We got spares. I mean, I keep begging to let them come and fix the power company here in Nassau.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a system of lamp poles and wires, Michelle. Watch this. If this laptop is your house, they could cut the electricity off right here. And the electricity goes the other way through the wire loop, a smart grid,
Okay.
to feed the person on the side of you.
Mm-hmm.
So how could they do it from the water?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now C. Allen has more time to study than me, and I give him the credit. He's going to give you 19 other ways the water can make you money.
Right.
And I'm going to give him that opportunity.
Okay. See, Alan, the floor is yours.
Well, the blue economy is basically the resources of the ocean. It encompasses our fishery, many of our natural resources, and it actually bleeds into the other 6 economic models.
Right.
There's the CEO of the company I work for actually has proffered a larger definition of combining the 6 into what is called an aquamarine economy.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into details of that because that's something that she is developing.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the blue economy, we have tourism, we have fisheries. We also have part of the blending in of the green economy, such as seagrass, such as, believe it or not, our natural resources such as aragonite, as well as our mangroves. And so, it's nothing exclusively, but what it is managing these. So when we look at the tourism aspect of it, when we look at the resources aspect of it, it's how do you best manage it for equity and equality and inclusion of individuals for which that economy, who would be participating in that economy. So then that's how we begin to look at and that's the macro aspect of what it is. When we begin to look at the micro aspect, we begin to look at how do we exploit this as a blue economy. It could be from fisheries. It could be from even growing seagrass. It could be from planting mangroves. It could be from restoration of our coral reefs. It could be in the management of the resources that we call aragonite. Not from a point of exportation for export. We are quintessentially in the hairline, in the bullseye of global warming and of climate change. And so the question is, how do we utilize this resource to shore up our economic future? And so this is basically the economy. And then it's how do you exploit it as an export? Now, the word export does not mean physically carrying these things out of the country. That's the old mindset. That's the analog mindset. Because, example, when we talk about tourism as that model, tourism is an export in the hospitality industry. And so you notice that you don't go out for people. People come to you. So you're exporting something to them, the experience, and that type of environment. So the blue economy is more than just exporting fisheries. It could be where people come here. Let's use an example, the conch. The conch is now going to be reserved exclusively for consumption within the Bahamas. And so you have an industry that actually touches into the creative industry that will cause people to come here. The food, they call them foodies. There's millions of them around the world that they try to experience uniqueness of various different foods. So now they can come in to experience it. We have a unique fishing environment that we have yet to explore. We have limited ourselves to groupers and some snappers, and we haven't went into deep water. We haven't went into sea cucumbers. We haven't went into these other exotic type environment. So again, the blue economy from a macro standpoint is all the resources of the ocean as well as how it touches us onto land. But don't look at any economy as a singular model, because the 6+ models that we often talk about all bleed into each other.
Mm-hmm. And you know who makes insane money on our blue economy?
Who?
The cruise ship industry. Their boat comes through our water, brags about $10 billion a year from one line alone, and did we get 12% off of that? Did we get business license? And then you got the oil tank.
Right. Ocean transportation is an industry within itself, and that's a multi-billion-dollar industry where we literally allow safety through our waters by simply getting a license here or registration in the country. Believe it or not, and so when you even look at the fact that our skies is also part of the blue economy, because when you begin to look at this whole aspect of global warming or for climate change, a lot of people don't realize that the oceans absorb 50% of the carbon dioxide. We keep focusing on the plants in the world, but the ocean absorbs 50% of carbon dioxide. Now, I want you guys to stop for a moment and pause and ask yourself, what is aragonite? Sodium carbonate, right? What is the primary aspect of that? It's actually CO2. And so again, here we are as a carbon sink as part of the blue economy, and we absorbing, the oceans absorb 50% of the world. We are also part of when you consider that the Bahamas is the 4th largest barrier reef in the world. It is also one of the largest concentration of blue holes in the world. All of this is part of the experience, is part of the value. In our blue holes is supposedly millions of years of world history. And so that's where those values come back. We have something called, I invite people to Google Crystal Caves Bahamas. National Geographic has come here for Crystal Cave in the Bahamas. When they asked them to put a value on the crystal caves of the Bahamas, they said they were unable to quantify the value because it's so high as to the way caves are worth.
See, Alan, I want you to take a moment, if you have some earplugs, to put them in, because we're getting some feedback from you, to see if that makes a difference. But how difficult, guys, is it? And let me how difficult is it to do what y'all are suggesting we can do with the blue economy? Is it a hard thing to do? What would it take for us to implement these ideas on a national level? And why do you think that is not happening? Anybody?
Michelle, I've listened to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what the person that texts you is looking for is the individual fix. What C. Allen, myself, and some others have been speaking to, where we may have gone wrong, is we've been speaking to the bigger fix, which would almost instantly help the individual fix.
Okay.
We've not been looking at, we got to fix it for this one person who lost their job in the hotel.
Right.
We're saying, if you pay off the national debt in 11 days, this person has no more VAT. You now have extra money that you can lend this person the money to start a boutique resort or be a part of a 200 villa boutique resort, him and 200 of his friends. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really hard when you say, hey, how do you fix that individual? But we never address that with any of our governments. It's just like, we're going to raise the tax to help a greater good. Everybody put up the VAT. Well, that doesn't help everybody. So I'm listening and I'm saying, hey, how do we now come up with a solution that helps everybody right out of the gate? Because that's what you're looking for, the magic wand. I can let C. Allen speak because I have my ideas, but I'd rather hear from him because he does come up with solid ideas. How do we fix that, C. Allen?
Well, again, I do believe that you can address both the micro and the macro at the same time, because I do believe in building from the bottom up and outwards, as opposed from the top down. And so we talk about what is the power of growth? It's actually labor, capital, and land. Well, we have both labor, land, and land itself is now capital. Knowledge itself is now capital. The data we have is now capital. So we're not lacking anything except leadership. And I hear people screaming, "Oh, we just need vision." We don't need vision. I mean, vision could be talking from the eyes. What we need is competence in understanding, competence and comprehension, as well as context in doing what is necessary. And so when you ask what can be done, we basically need individuals, those same individuals who agitate, who has been taught to look from the top, for the trickle down effect. And that's where their problem is. They're saying, well, look up to the top, you're down here with us. And I'm saying, this is where the growth is. This is where the roots of the tree is on the bottom. This is actually where the strength and the nourishment of the tree and the branches and the fruits comes from the roots. And so we are the roots to people. And so what we have to do is begin to look at and leverage the capital that we have. And we said, what is the number one thing? Land. Well, the Bahamas has over 3 million acres of land in our portfolio. And I could put you very easily to tell you that we have some prime beachfront property. The problem is that we have people running around screaming about sovereign wealth fund, and have no idea and comprehension of its structure or how it should be done. And so for instance, the sovereign wealth fund is nothing more than, like you said, you used the word, a box, a piggy bank. And so what you do is the first thing we must begin with is to begin to put all assets, known and unknown, seen and unseen, tangible and intangible, into the sovereign wealth fund for safekeeping and exploitation for the benefits of all Bahamians. Then we begin to look for the expertise called sovereign asset management companies, who will then begin to maximize and leverage these assets that we have for the benefit of Bahamian people. Let's go back to the conversation of land. Let's take 15,000 of those prime acres and put a development value of $300,000 on each. What are you at now? $45 billion that you have within it. And this is not where we're selling the land. We are simply putting a value on the land for us to maximize whether this is necessary. Well, if we were to build the 20,000 bed and breakfast in the Bahamas, it'll cost us less than $8 billion. And I can show you a way of using the land as a leverage for the build out, meaning that we would basically share in some of the profits. And this is something that we could pay back in less than 5 years if we operate at full occupancy, and 50%, if we operate at 50% occupancy, we could pay back in 10 years. But Michelle, I want you to consider this. We have one of the greatest databases there is, or we should have one of the greatest databases there is. And that's the 7 million tourists a year that we have come here. I mean, how hard it is for us to get 20,000 bed and breakfasts out into the marketplace that's owned by Bahamians and pre-book them for 5 years. If you do the multiplication of 20,000 bed and breakfasts pre-booked for 5 years, you would actually hit $8 to $10 billion in advance bookings. Isn't the advance booking themselves capital for you to build the bed and breakfasts for the people to come to? Yeah, and just remember that they're not giving back anything. You're simply saying, okay, you prepaid for this week, come enjoy your week. You prepaid for 5 weeks, come and enjoy your 5 weeks. At the termination or the redemption of those 5 weeks, whether it be for 5 years or 10 years, let's say it's those 5 years of redemption spread out over 10 years. Wouldn't it be that we still have 5 years in those 10 years to still rent to other individuals who did not prepay? But what happens is, let's do the multiplication. We didn't pay back that. That's a zero interest loan. That zero interest loan, because the person prepaid, let's say, the $1,500 for the week, they will come and they will redeem it. Now we don't owe them. After 5 years, everybody have redeemed all their weeks. We still own the billions. We still own all of the infrastructure that we continue to fill. And so if you do this through each of the economies, but the problem is that we're not having a real conversation.
Let's hear from you, Graham. Give us at least one or two of your ideas in addition to what C. Allen just said.
It goes along the same lines. I said on another show, why don't we give every single Bahamian 1 acre of Crown land? But before they take possession...
I'll tell you when I finish.
Listen to it, though. Before they take possession, teach them the value of the land and what they can do with that land. See, you have two places. You have Abaco and you have Freeport. And if you did what C. Allen just said, you put everyone back to work there, right? Construction jobs usually have a trickle-down effect almost instantly. So if I say I'm going to build a modern city, I'm going to build these Airbnbs, for lack of a better word, in Freeport and Abaco, right?
Right.
I have everybody employed. I have so much employment, I have to bring in 300 people from Mexico. So obviously, Abaco has full employment today for foreigners. And so if we would have focused on our people and getting them the skill sets, not everybody did as well in school. So look, come to BTVI, let me get you the skill sets, electrical, carpentry, whatever, plumbing. We could have, as Cialan just recommended, I have one that's even bigger, and some people don't like it because I say you could build a new modern city somewhere else, but they don't like the island I choose. I choose it because it's close to Nassau. And you could give the people the land so they have the ownership. And if you have the funding, which I know where it is, you can actually get a triplex and make $100 from the two that you're not living in. That's $1,400 a week.
Okay, we have a caller on the line. Let's go to the phone lines and see what this person is saying. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hey, Michelle, how you doing?
Great, how are you?
All right, this is Casey Ag.
Hey, Casey, what you saying?
Right here. I just want to say you have a marvelous show.
Thank you.
You have a great man in the studio, and publicly, Graham, as an activist, I mean, you set the bar so high. You've been doing a wonderful job. Wonderful job. I have a question, though. With all the brilliant ideas that you have, how do they fit into this system of a one-world government that the government is taking us? Do you see any manifesto that fits the criteria that's required to survive under the WTO?
Well, you see that another set of issues. Yeah, I want you to really weigh in on that too. But for me, everything we discuss, right, becomes hindered by WTO. And if you sign on to it, and we've had countless meetings, Casey, Cialan, and myself. So I'm going to let Cialan talk. Go ahead, Cialan.
Well, Michelle, the whole aspect of WTO, nothing about the development of the Bahamas fits into WTO. WTO itself is a antiquated creature. The world is moving from we hear the word globalization 4.0, but it's not globalization as we know it, because as it stands right now, they've been selling us the facade as if though there's some borders. The borders they're talking about is the movement of people so we can have a competitive low labor pool around the world. But the ideas that myself and KCX more specifically have been pushed for, and Graham joining us, has been to actually become the antidote to the so-called global push. When we talk about data protection and data sovereignty, where individuals can own their data, that is an anti-capitalistic type environment, because what it does, it goes away from the exploitation of the workers to actual participation and ownership of the global economy. The Bahamas is poised uniquely in its environment. 80% of all the marine traffic that goes to the east coast of the U.S. For commerce and goes to Panama and the rest of them travels through Bahamian economic zone waters. And so we don't exploit that. And so the question is, if you are already the man in the middle, why do you need to give permission for each side to control and dominate you rather than exploiting the strengths of that particular post that you have? The Bahamas should be, by virtue of its decision-making process, mediators for this so-called desire for world governance. And instead, what we have is leadership that only knows servitude, because that's all they've been indoctrinated in for the last 40 years. This is why when you hear, you ever hear the expression of the slave says, when the master got sick, he never asked the master, are you sick? He said, master, are we sick? Master, we sick today? When the master house burned down, he says, our house burning down today, even though he don't live in the house. And you see this when they say, oh, America catches the cold and we catch the flu and everything else. That's the mindset of slaves. We should be seeking to build our own table, inviting others to sit at it, because we have some unique qualities and some unique positioning skills, regardless of our size. The might is in the tool you have, not in the size you are. And so, but we're not having those type of conversations. What we're having is one of dismissal. Oh, we're too small to do anything. You know, you should tell that to a bullet. But when you look at the strength of us, one mosquito in the room.
Tell that to a bullet.
Right. One mosquito in the room is not a trouble. But you know what you do? fill the room with mosquitoes and see what the person do. You know.
I want to go back to the blue economy. Well, it's 12 o'clock. We have to take a quick break, but I want to quickly touch on something, I guess, on the other side of the break, because I don't want us to fall off on our schedule as it relates to airing our sponsors' ads. But I want y'all to ponder this, and then we're going to talk about it on the other side of the break, and then we're going to move on from the blue economy. And the question is this: what about utilizing the natural energy that exists from the waters, wave energy, etc., all of that, to generate the electrical needs that we need? Don't answer yet, Graham. I see you itching.
Yeah.
But we're going to take this commercial break first. We got to pay our bills. We have to pay kudos to our sponsors who make this show possible. So let's take this commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to look at innovative thought as it relates to using the natural energy that is available to us in the oceans. And it's just one of many ideas that have already been put forward, but for whatever reason are being ignored. So we're going to talk about it on the other side of the break. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Stop letting these other guys run you hot while looking for ice. No need to check the food store, the gas station, conveniently located around Nassau. Cooler Ice. So for just $3 you can get a bag of ice whenever you want, or refill your 5-gallon bottle for the same $3. Ice machine is closer than you know. Cooler Ice. With locations at Arawak Key, Potoski Dock, Montague Boat Ramp, Superwash locations at Prince Charles, Carmichael Road, Soldier Road, Charles Saunders Highway, and 3 new locations: Superwash Nassau Street, Wolf Road, and Gibbs Corner. Cooler Ice Bahamas, fresh and ready whenever you are.
Looking for an extraordinary junior high school with caring, qualified staff and affordable tuition? Then come visit us at Elite School of Excellence, an affiliate of First Step Academy. ABECA-focused and Ministry of Education approved, we foster discipline, integrity, and wisdom while molding our students for success. Call us at 341-8846 or stop by First Step Academy schools on Fire Trail and Soldy Roads for more information.
At the Shirley Street Plaza, you'll find Le Petit Gourmet, a small cafe that's big on flavor. Handcrafted delights made with love will not only please your palate, but feed your soul. Call us at 394-1251. 8 to 12 minutes is all it takes for a burglar to rob your home or business. Security Systems International provides professional and affordable solutions for both. Call 396-5000 for your customized quote. Gwen's Alterations provides professional services for all your tailoring needs, including face masks to keep you safe and in style. A stitch in time saves 9. So call us today at 393-6227.
Escape from the city life to Bacon Air Beach Resort in Pirateswell, Mayaguana. Relax in one of 16 air-conditioned rooms just steps away from the ocean. Enjoy scrumptious dishes in our waterfront dining room. Sip on a tropical cocktail, or if you must, stay connected with wireless internet. Nestled on one of the most beautiful beaches in the Bahamas, Bacon Air Beach Resort offers a unique vacation experience. For reservations, call 339-3726 or 463-0182.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Bahamas Orthodontic Center, celebrating 30 years of designing and creating beautiful smiles.
We CPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. We're talking today alternative solutions, thinking outside the budget box. And my guests are Graham Weatherford and C. Alan Johnson, who I'm trying to add to the stream, and there he is. I figured these two would be great guests for this show today because they always have all of these innovative ideas. Prior to the break, we talked about one that I'm sure persons who have been given the responsibility to govern our nation are aware of, and that is the natural energy that can be tapped into from our waters, and yet it's being ignored. And some people have an idea as to why they think it's being ignored, because Graham said it during the break, who's benefiting from it being ignored? Who benefits from us remaining doing what we're doing right now? But I want you guys to explain to our audience how we could easily make life a lot easier for every individual, every homeowner, every business, as it relates to the cost of energy, if we simply tapped into the natural energy that exists in our seas, God-given, that we didn't have to pay for, that is just sitting there begging to be used. What are your thoughts on that, gentlemen?
Well, I'm from Eleuthera, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have a place in Eleuthera called Current Settlement.
Right.
There's an island, like Paradise Island is in Nassau, called Current Island.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a cut that people use as a shortcut to get up to North Eleuthera called Current Cut.
Okay.
We call electricity current.
Mm-hmm.
And Sir Roland Simonet was from Current.
Okay.
That's 5. That's your open hand. Count all 5 fingers. You should slap somebody for not using that current, because if you have in there 17 to 20 mile an hour current, and you anchored a underwater windmill, for lack of a better word, turbine, and it used the water rushing through
naturally
to make electricity,
you
would have electricity being made for 20 hours a day, because only 4 hours do you have flat tide. So 20 hours a day. The other 2 hours the sun is shining. You could use solar. So you would only have 2 hours at night when there is no current and there is no sun. And battery technology is getting at that level. If you look at Tesla, they ran a whole city in Australia. Well, for a few thousand people in Eleuthera, you could have battery to kick in for that time.
And what would that mean as
Energy
a way
security.
to transform that economy? What would that look like?
Right away, those people, I mean, if I were to tell everybody in Eleuthera right now, right? We got, 10 to 13,000 people. If I was to say, I will pretty much take care of your electricity bill, would you vote for me? What do you think would happen?
You got a couple of votes.
A couple? I'm going to pay for your electricity for indefinitely. Yeah.
I get it. I get what you're saying.
So your business can make more money now, right? You'll have more money to reinvest into your beauty supplies or your food store. You'd have more items to put on the shelf. So you would stimulate the economy. Energy security, it's all, no matter whatever we talk about for the next decade, it's all going to come back to energy security. Because if I say I want to use farms to store data, like C. Allen said, or to mine Bitcoin and all these fabulous things, it takes energy. So until we're going to have the conversation on how do we get this energy to go very low or go away, we're not serious. We really don't care. We spend according to 60 Minutes and our Prime Minister, when he was in Ragged Island, we spend $400 million a year on energy. $400 million a year. If we could knock 25% of that down, that would be $100 million a year. I could give $100 million a year to help people move into the energy sector. Whether it's just, underwater turbines, that's a little bit deep. Let's start with just putting the solar panels on the rooftops. You got no money for this, child. Yeah, I do. I got $100 million. And some bank will lend me $100 million to train and get my people exclusively putting solar on rooftops. I'll pay back this money next year. It's a return on the investment. Here, we just borrow $100 million and say, let's have a party. We could put the VAT up later to pay for it.
So why, gentlemen, do you think that we are not pursuing these ideas?
Who makes the money?
Who makes the money from what? From it being the way it is?
Yeah, if I'm selling fuel for a generator, $400 million a year, you think I want you to come around me talking about you need to do what? Put something on someone's roof to take away my diesel sales? You crazy, eh? See, but if we had smart governance, and I left something out of the bag I shouldn't, smart governance would do this. Smart governance would go to the Sunny Fellows and would say, guess what?
Sunny Fellows.
Yeah, I don't call names. Smart government would go to the people selling the diesel and say, listen, we want to move into a different space, more clean, green, and pristine, and eco-friendly, and carbon credits apply, which C. Allen will tell you all about. So we need from you guys $100 million. We're going to pay it back. You will own the renewable energy sector. So instead of charging these people this money for this, well, listen, C. Allen, I know you're laughing, and I don't like this model, but they could move into, let me put it a better way, the renewable energy sector, but not charge people that 50 cents a kilowatt hour, charge them to 10 cents. And you could put, not in perpetuity, you could tell them, listen, only for the next 20 years.
See, Alan, let's, we can
put
hear
your
you now.
spin on it.
Listen to me. I don't believe in slavery, no matter how benevolent they are. But for me, this is bigger than the energy clowns. Because what happens is we first must recognize that we are a carbon-based economy. Almost all of the government income comes from carbon tax, directly or indirectly, from our transportation, from the chaos that exists in our traffic of you burning fuel, from the fact that we are transportation incorporated in the goods and the services we consume. All of those are embedded carbon tax. The question is that we don't have an economic model to replace the one that we have. And so the government cannot erode the very revenue it depends on for taxation to basically come in. It's a carbon economy. But as far as saying going to individuals, it's like asking your pimp it's like the prostitute asking the pimp to buy a better outfit. It doesn't matter. You're still a prostitute. So I'm simply saying is that when you look at the fact that it costs $1 million per megawatts of electricity or gigawatts, whatever it is. In New Providence alone, we could meet the needs of 300 gigawatts by getting a $300 million loan or grant or whatever, or even advance. We have the carbon credits, we have the land, we have whatever it is that we can leverage. But immediately what happens is that you need to put in the capability of the 300 megawatts will come from the solar plant, put it in on South Beach or over some water, and you have a 25% more efficiency. But at the same time, the biggest problem we have is it's a hidden one in the room. Nobody wants to address the $2 billion of legacy debt. I got family members that owe $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 light bills.
Wow.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you the problem with that, Michelle. They're still on the books as collectibles. The problem is that we buried them 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So I don't know when they'll be back to pay their light bills, on it. So the fact that we've hidden the fact that not because of my family members that owe $2,000 or $3,000, but the special interests and family, friends, and lovers that owe tens of thousands of millions of dollars, because we didn't come up with this $1 billion of legacy debt that just sits there on its own. It's been accumulating over the last 40 plus years. Add to that for the fact that we have not collected those debt to build a new grid system. We have an archaic grid system that cannot handle the new demands of the 21st century. So we need $1 billion just to build a new grid system. So in essence, we just need to look exactly at what it is we have, because essentially, I am one to believe that based on where we are, based on what the government can basically gain from taxation and capitalization, that electricity should almost be all but free for residential customers and the lowest cost for business.
I have a comment from Facebook. This is from KCX. He says, the government knows about ocean thermal energy because in 2011, the government signed a heads of agreement with OPEC to produce clean energy from the ocean. We are in this position by choice. Remember, we the people perish because we have no vision. Well, according to C. Allen, the problem is, was it C. Allen or you who said the problem isn't vision? The problem is...
It's me. It's not the vision. There's vision within the country. The problem is we have no leadership. What we're expressing is a long-term and short-term vision. The problem is that we don't have the right leadership in place, because the people perish more so for lack of leadership that has vision as opposed to vision standing alone. The vision for the developing the Bahamas is the collective intelligence. But just on the point that KCX just commented again, let me just say that the point KCX brought up concerning WTO is very important. I think that every individual should seek out their individual candidate for membership who's seeking membership of parliament or re-election, and have them on the record, like on your video, on your camera, something, answer the question: do you support ascension to WTO or anything similar? And get them on the record as yes and no. So when we do come to this question this November or whatever amount of time, that we can actually have a record of what they say. So there's enough for us around the Bahamas to go find the 100 or so people that's running and ask them on the record, aim the camera at them and ask them, answer the question: do you support WTO, ascension to WTO? Because it will erode everything that we're talking here, everything we're talking here today. Hold on a second. Let me go back to the tidal energy that you talk about. There's no one solution for energy in the Bahamas. We have the tidal energy. We have the green and the green energy. We have wind energy. We sit literally on top of a hill in the trade winds. We literally sit in the river. So there's not just current neutral, but the entire Bahamas is a pathway for the generation of tidal energy.
Let me break this down for people to understand how powerful that energy source is that we're talking about. You all know I used to work in Bimini at a resort, and they had a small cruise ship that used to bring passengers in from Florida directly to Bimini. And I remember I was responsible for communications, and I had a group of travel writers who were coming in, and my job was to travel to Florida, bring them over on the cruise ship, make sure they had the great experience in Bimini, and then, see them back home. And so I flew to Florida, and we're on the cruise ship, sailing to sailing to Bimini. And we get to Bimini, and we cannot pull into the dock because of current. I ain't talking a little dingy boat.
But I'm saying that's a small area.
And let me tell you, the current was so strong, we literally had to sit out there. They kept trying, and the current kept saying, not today. They kept trying. I think about 4 o'clock in the morning, they decided, okay, let's quit for the night. Try again and later on in the morning to see if we can actually get across this current. 10 o'clock the next morning, they tried again. That current pushed that ship out again. We had to sail back to Florida because the current was so strong, it would not allow that cruise ship to pull into the dock. That's the kind of power we're talking about. And you're right. It's not just Eleuthera, but we are, you show me that, Graham, because if we can't see it on the air, we can't see it on the air.
But between North.
No, we live in a river. It's like you say, you live and literally and we actually live in the Locayan Sea. That gives us a unique opportunity. That's a name I borrowed from. I think his name is Bethel or something that's been trying to rename it. I think the other name is Sagumas or Sagagma, something of that sea. But I think it is rightfully should be the Locayan Sea for the Bahamas. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the combination of a blended environment, and just use an example, people talk about. I hear a lot of time when people scream about dropping a cable to Florida, and I heard the DNA prophetess, and a long time ago when I was somehow indirect member of the DNA, these were ideas that was prophet within that country. It's a wonderful idea. It's the problem is that very few people know exactly how. Let's use an example. Do you know they're running a 2,300-mile electricity cable from Australia to Singapore right now? They're building it. So when you start talking about 75 miles away, it's a blended grid type environment, not just dropping a cord. And this is why I said we must not know just the what, we must also know the how. But when you take the blended of reduction of consumption, and that's from changing the roofs and the attics and LED lights in the home, and actually looking, and this is where data comes in. We don't have the SWOT analysis or the pastel to understand what it is. So the first thing we have to do is do a data analysis of where we are, so we can plot a path to where we want to be. But what we have to do is stop looking from the top up and start having a conversation from the bottom. From the top down, and start having this conversation from the bottom up, knowing that there's more of us than there is of them. And so, like you say, is more money more valuable than less money? And so when you look at the collective intelligence of all of us will be always greater than the intelligence of some of us, which is our leaders. And so, but somehow we have been conditioned for the master thing. Master, we say. So we say government, it has a financial problem. Wait a minute, we are government. We have a financial problem in that respect. But then this is where the separation is. The goods goes to master and the bad is shared amongst us. And so it's a governance mindset, and that has to be broken. And that comes from the indoctrination of the slavery concepts, even in our education system. Why? Is because we continue to use the very systems of slavery that we got supposedly freedom to choose, and we chose to remain under that mindset. And so we have to begin to break that and recognize that the power of the people is and shall always be greater than the people in power. What do I mean by that? When we send these workers to the office, what we call parliament, we must understand that we on a daily basis have the collective influence to make sure that they do what we tell them to do, rather than sitting and bitching and crying, excuse the expression, about what they do and we're going to get rid of them in 5 years. Well, if your worker was burning and destroying your business, wouldn't you run into your business that day and talk to them? Then why don't we on a daily basis as a collective go and challenge them? And if they have their fanatical friends, I can assure you, in spite of them winning the election, there are those that voted for them that wants good governance. And I think for those who didn't vote for them, along with those that will still be the majority. Let's stop being the silent majority and become the active majority.
I want to say something here, because I want something to be very clear in this conversation. We're talking about thinking outside the budget box. And if you listened to that budget communication, I know Marlon was on the show last week, Marlon Johnson, and he did his best to try to paint as rosy a picture as he could. But it don't take a genius to figure out to be on the edge. Blind Blake could see that, right? We on the fiscal edge. But I want
Ray Charles is screaming, stop.
I got from the show borrowing ourselves out of debt.
But here's the thing. I want people to understand this. We may all be in the same water, but we ain't all in the same boat. And when you hear figures being thrown around like $3 trillion in trade, they say we do in the Bahamas, $3 trillion in trade. Clearly somebody or somebodies are benefiting from that $3 trillion in trade while the masses begging for bread. So what do we need to do to switch this flip this switch, right?
See, Alan said it best. He said, the slave, when you go, master, are we sick? We trade $3 trillion. Who's we? Not anybody in Dumping Ground Corner or Lewis Street.
We have a caller on the line. Let's go to the phone lines. Carlo, welcome to GBS.
Good day,
Hi.
Michelle.
Hi.
And good day to your guests. It's always good to have these guys educating the Bahamian people. As relates to energy, we know there's a conspiracy to defraud the Bahamian people out of their life now, much less our land. Michelle, what I am concerned with today is the fact is the Bahamian people are the ones, who are feeling the repercussions from bad policies by both parties. The persons who are in government or who were in government have the audacity, to come to the Bahamian people and brag about being involved with the Bahamian people government for 40 years, almost as long as I've been born. For some of them, probably longer. What is egregious? All right? Everything that the two guests you have on today have been preaching for 20 years. 20 straight every morning. Sometimes they doing 2-3 shows in a day for 20 straight years. Would they get any thanks for that? You mean to tell me these two men on your show, they have to have money. They have to give me money. for me to vote for them? Shouldn't the stance they have taken, how many hours in 20 straight years? Because I'm offended when people say no one's standing up. No. The people who standing up, you expect for them to fit the bill, while those who are responsible for the chaos and destruction in the country go scot-free. The current, the tide in the ocean changes every 6 hours. When there is no sun, you're going to have ocean current. There is no pressure that Earth can produce more powerful than the pressure that the ocean produces. We have fishes coming from one end of the world to birth their babies in our water. And then they go taking the tide and going back where they come from. What I'm saying is, everyone knows that both parties have used electricity or energy, okay, as a big stick over the Bahamian people, over the Bahamian individual homes, and over the Bahamian individual businesses. And that stick has crippled some of us. They hit us in our head with that stick. Okay, and many people lost their homes. That's why I'm not an advocate for no young Bahamians to be running after, well, you going to buy a new home. No, don't you do that. Because they have not dealt with the reasons why the people lost their house the last time, that the last government never promised and never fulfilled. Promises are comfort to fools, and that's what we have been practicing every 5 years, going back and forth between the PLP and the FNM. Yes, again, for the second time in the day, it hurt my heart to say this. Good day.
That was a mouthful, Amos. Thanks so much, guys. How do you respond?
Yeah. But just let me say what Amos says, right? What is a travesty is the fact that owners of the Bahamian economy allow their employees to run ransack around and over them. Again, it's because what we do is we become absent owners of the Bahamian economy. We become absent owners in governance. You have not because you demand not. But it says, and Frederick Douglass says that power does not concede to a demand. Power does not concede except to a demand. I say power concedes nothing to the demand of an emasculated constituent. You can't demand anything of me on your knees. And so essentially what happens is that we must then begin to decide individually, and we need to stop screaming at these political parties. No one votes for political party, in spite of what we think. That's another misnomer they have you thinking. You vote for individuals. So technically, you vote for a brand more than a political party. Because if you were to question the individuals that you vote for, chances are you'll find out that the brand is nothing more than an empty box. And so essentially, you've never went and questioned the individuals who you will be voting for to find out their level of competence and understanding contextually what is required of the economy. And so until we start making smarter decisions, we'll keep getting dumb leaders.
You know, C. Allen, you asked to get every person that's running. And, I don't like debates unless they're going to be in every constituency, because no one runs for prime minister. You run to win your seat. So don't give me the heads of parties, because they're nobody. They're running for a seat. That's all they're doing. Now, when they win, they may get the majority and become the leader. But I can tell you right now, C. Allen, I announced independent for St. Anne's, and I am against the WTO. So you got that on record, because I know you collecting them. That's the first one to announce publicly.
All right, guys. I want to, 3/4 of the show done gone, and we only covered the blue economy. Lord help us today. We have to do a series, y'all, because it's clearly impossible to cover everything that we want to cover in one show. But I want to read a text, and this goes along the lines of what you guys have just expressed. Diane says, great show, Michelle. Brilliant guest. Unfortunately, leaders do not listen to them. Hence, we are stuck here, not moving forward.
Not elected officials, leaders would listen.
They listen, they just don't act on what they hear.
Right.
No, I was saying, those are elected official leaders would seek other leaders. And so they are elected officials that don't listen to the Bahamian people, but they really don't listen because we give them consent not to. And if I wish everybody was like with me and demand more, and you will be this change. Essentially, I became the change I want to see in the community, and I'm hoping others can do the same. And hopefully now, the COVID environment with a need for a whole paradigm shift in thinking is what we're going to need to face the truth of our reality and begin to ask more and expect more from our leadership. And so if we begin to ask the leaders who are now saying, we're going to innovate, evolution, and revolutionize, and innovation and transformation, to say, but don't tell us just the word, give us the actionable blueprint of what you're going to do. Publish it to your site. Don't say, we're going to do this to be better. They're good at criticizing each other. And essentially, like they say, if you pick up crap in the left or right hand, what's the difference? You're still holding crap.
It's a perfect example. You come and say, we're going to digitize the schools. How does that look? Oh, we don't know. We can just digitize it. See, Alan, if a real leader, not a ruler. Let me try smooth over what he just said, because we want to repeat that. Anyway.
Lord have mercy.
A real ruler would do. And I asked some of these, what we call leaders, I said, please, when you win, set up a think tank. Get all these voices of opposition, you call opposition, but they really are trying to give you solutions. And they don't even need the credit. You get to see Alan, me, Wayne Johns. You pull a list of them, Gilbert Morris, put them in a room and say, guys, fix tourism, fix energy, fix the Bahamas, whatever, education, and let them give you the solutions.
Well, that's
what a real CEO does. And you say you're a CEO.
We were talking about the danger of groupthink. And one of the things that he was suggesting is that instead of putting
that's what I have.
In one room, put them into several different rooms. So that's what
I was going to tell you, right?
Yes. Yeah. So you don't run the risk of groupthink.
Right. Because they say if you have 100 people in the room and 99 agree, you don't need two of them. You only need two of them.
All right, guys.
What happens, Michelle, is let me say, I know before you go, you say the whole concept of groupthink. Again, what we need is government to do three things. Stop asking them to clean up your neighborhood and bring you breakfast in the morning and all those things. We need policies, laws, which is legislation, and programs, and get the hell out of our way so that those individuals can help and inspire others. So you need laws for access to capital. Whatever the laws is, that's all we need. The problem is we keep saying, government do this, government do that. We need to stop that and simply say, we don't want to see you in our neighborhoods, however we want to feel you. Laws, policies, and programs.
Wow. Okay, let's take a commercial break. On the other side, I want us to talk. Obviously, we're going to have to do a series, guys, because we only covered really the blue economy in this show. But I do want us to talk directly to persons who find themselves between a rock and a hard place right now, maybe without a job, having been furloughed for the longest time, waiting for people to bring you back, and then they can turn around and say, no, not going to happen anymore. So wrong. So let's talk about what these people are now facing and what they can do so that they don't fall into a place of despair. So stay with us. That's on the other side of the break. That and more when GPS continues here on Glory 93.9 FM.
Glory 93.9 FM, the people's favorite gospel station.
Ocean blue is the best in seafood, hey. Fresh out the water and affordable too, yeah. We got fish, conch, lobster, shrimp, everything you want, Ocean Blue got it. Ocean Blue, friendly and clean, best service you ever seen. Ocean Blue is the best in seafood, hey. Fresh out the water and affordable too, hey. Ocean Blue Seafood, we are here for you. Ocean Blue Seafood, no one else will do. Ocean Blue Seafood, located on Burnett Road. Contact us at 393-2160.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome. which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy, with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons.
With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks.
We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. And by BMP Liquidators. High quality furniture and home goods at very reasonable prices.
GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Glory 93.9 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and joining me on the show today are Graham Weatherford and C. Alan Johnson, and we are talking alternative solutions, thinking outside the budget box. And I promised you guys in the beginning of the show that we were going to also spend some time during this conversation talking about what you can do if you find yourself right now between a rock and a hard place, having been let go, or having the place where you were working closed down, or whatever it is that has led you to be in this situation. Because listen, we get it. There's a lot of people out there right now who hurting, who going through. And then in addition to that, you got all these kids who are going to be graduating school who are going to be adding to the pool of people who are now looking for work, looking for something to do. So clearly the traditional way of doing things is no longer viable. I had somebody call me the other day and they were like, Miss Malcolm, I'm calling you looking for a job. I said, I don't have a job to give you, but I can give you an idea of how you can work for yourself. Are you interested in that? You know what I mean? Because you have to now start thinking outside that box. Because the box, quite frankly, that what was going on inside that box ain't waking no more. And it doesn't make sense for you to stay in this box crying, oh, woe is me. How are you going to get out of this situation? And you ain't willing and not willing and not brave enough. Because it does take some degree of bravery. But you got to be brave enough to decide to dismantle that box and do something completely different. So guys, let's talk to that individual who's going through right now. What can they realistically do to turn their circumstances around? Alternative solutions.
See, Alan, you want me to go?
You might as well. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, let's look at the individual, because Michelle, for the last 20 years, you've had a lot of guests, and other people have had guests, to people who speak to the large national issue fixes.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we fix somebody? Let's take a scenario. There's somebody in Yellow Elder. They have a 3-bedroom house. The children have grown up and gone, but they have these 2 extra rooms now. Okay? But they're still working. One was working at a big hotel in housekeeping for $350 a week. And the other was making about $250, $300 a week. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So they were making $500 to $600 collectively. They had a mortgage. They're about to lose the house. They're part of the 25,000 people that are unemployed that was stated the other day on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish you would have asked your guests this question. How do we fix a single individual? Because if we can fix a single individual, we have spoke to fixing an entire country's problems. But the individual can't see that he's in or she's in survival mode.
Yes.
So let's help this single family that's in distress.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we can do this, people will then see into the vision that what we are about to say can be duplicated 25,000 times over.
Right.
Now, I want to fully disclose, between 2020 and 2021, I did what I'm about to speak to. So it's not a politician saying, child, we could do these things. These are real scenarios. People can't find food. Both families of members have lost a job. But here's what we should have done. In 2020, we should have known when all of the big boats, cruise ships, and hotels closed. We should have known from 9/11, right?
Mm-hmm.
We should have known from previous examples what happens if the golden egg is gone.
Cracks. Mm-hmm.
Tourism has not gone, like C. Allen said. It's evolving. And it's evolving with the disruption where we have the ownership. Now, I have a house. It's not my house until I pay for it. I'm living in Yellow Elder. I've lost all the income. I can't afford this $1,200 mortgage payment. I should go to my bank and say, please, give me some time. Don't take the house. Don't hide and ignore them. Let them know that you're going to turn this into a profit. You should have taken, our government should have assisted everybody with the Bahamas Development Bank loans. They gave out $5,000. Some people would have needed $5, some would have needed $10. The house needs 2 bathrooms. And so this house that I'm speaking to, the person I know, it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house.
Mm-hmm.
They now can turn the 2 bedrooms and the bathroom into a vacation rental space. We're now hearing about Airbnb. What we should have done in 2020 is in Ministry of Tourism set up Bahamas B&B. Okay?
No, they're too busy trying to figure out how to talk it to make,
Well, here's the deal. We don't want Airbnb. We want the Bahamas B&B and market that on social around the world. Everybody will know about it just like they know about VBRO and Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
We will then have a little bit more knowledge of what's going on in the country instead of having to go beg Airbnb to cut me a VAT check. How stupid. So here's the deal. It's now, MOT needs to evolve, and I'm not going down that road. That's another show. But it would need to evolve to accommodate this. Now, you're getting $100 to $200 a night for the tourist. They want immersion. They want to know to not jam up in a hotel where it's not COVID safe. You're meeting some guidelines that the government would have assisted you with.
Mm-hmm.
You're now getting anywhere from $700 to $1,200 to $1,400 a week in Yellow Elder. Should you go back and make the bed for $350 a week in someone else's tourism hotel?
Mm.
We should have taught our people, and I've done this. So it's not, I could go and put me in charge MOT now. I could start a mass campaign to fix 25,000 individuals. I'm putting out the challenge. I'm willing to do it for MOT, and you don't have to pay me. Let me head up the Bahamas B&B. And so that fixes the individual problem.
Right.
Because we have to focus on the individual. Because when we talk about paying off the national debt, getting rid of this and doing that, it's great. Blue, green, orange, and purple economy and pink economy. No one cares about that. I live in Yellow Elder, and I need, because I was making about $500-600 a week, I need to make that or more. Well, we could double what you were making if you had 2 rooms. But if you only had a 2-bedroom house, add on a bathroom. Okay, that's now plumbers that are needed, electricians that are needed, okay,
So
masons.
Yeah.
We are stimulating this economy. And once you stimulate construction, that ripple effect is dangerous. But here's the problem. They no longer have a job. They have the ownership in tourism. And their only income would be coming from the Airbnb or the Bahamas B&B model. And if you're going to tax that, you're now taxing their income. Are we going towards income tax? See, and I talk to ministers and I show them these things. I've actually had a friend of mine say that, you know, the problem with you, Graham, the ministers think you too smart and they scared of you. So I'm going to publicly say, don't be scared of me. Don't be scared of the C. Alan Johnson, the Graham. Ask us to fix the problems.
Let's add C. Alan to this conversation. C. Alan, what are your thoughts? And what do you... Graham spoke specifically to the middle class, but we got a lot of people who are not in the middle class, who are lower than that, who are going through.
Well,
So-
remember, they have to do the housekeeping for you.
Yeah.
So you'll remember the girl I told you about?
Yes.
So the person who's only making $300-400 at a big hotel, they got a cube, a Nissan Cube, and they will come to these Airbnbs and clean them because you're getting $1,400 a week. You're like, child, here's the $100, clean it. The Bahamas B&B per tenant paid for the cleaning.
Right.
And so now you're making $100 when you clean these Airbnbs. Per room. So think about the money you're making now. If you do 3 a day, it's $300 a day. It's $2,100 a week. Who's getting $2,100 a week cleaning any hotel for a foreigner? And that's the bottom. That's what you call the least income, the housekeeper. But the home owner, and listen, any homeowner, if he was just renting 1 2-bedroom place or 3-bedroom place,
Right.
sublet the room, $70 a night. It's more than you're making now. There's so many ways to fix the Bahamas, Michelle, you got to be willing to do it.
C. Alan, let's hear from you.
Well, I'm one to believe that Nassau, the ghetto called New Providence, reaches maximum capacity. And we have to look at divesting ourselves of the population of New Providence into other islands. But you must understand the economics of keeping people on New Providence. It's the control factor. It's the pain that we call the black crab syndrome. We can talk one day about the black crab syndrome because that itself don't exist. The crabs are not pulling each other down. The one on the top is trying to help the others up, but the weight of that crab pulls him down. They're standing on each other's shoulder trying to get up and out. So it's not the crabs, it's actually the pen. So the economic pen that we're in, they control the harbor, they control the airport, they control the economics. And this is why we call Grand Bahama the Grand Deception, because when you begin to diversify the economy in its truest sense and move people out of New Providence, so you could have the beyond the cruise experience that has been propped by some Bahamians. So you move to Grand Bahama and build the 20,000, 30,000 units that's needed. That's 20,000 homes. Individuals will move to Grand Bahama. You'll create a new economy, sustainable economy that's built around the green, the blue, the orange, the digital, whatever economy. But when you try to build on top of that, you have a shanty town type of environment. But when you talk about the amount of people that can live on New Providence or Grand Bahama or anyone else, that's not even with vertical building. But here's what happens. If you was to build an economy in Grand Bahama that requires 20,000 individuals to come to Grand Bahama, what has happened? Not the fact that you've given them opportunities. The fact is that you've moved the political power base from New Providence. You've just moved 6 or 7 seats from New Providence onto Grand Bahama or some other islands for which the oligarchs and the plutocrats do not control the economy. And that's how they control us. That's the cage. And so what we have to do is begin to stop looking for what we can do in New Providence. We talk about shanty towns and Abaco and other places. Have you ever went to other parts of New Providence? If you want to use the definition of shanty town, the whole place is practically a shanty town now, because we have not had the economics to upkeep it. So let's start looking at New Providence. Let's protect Andres. Anybody who tell you to develop Andres would actually piss in the pot they cook in and tell you to eat from it. And so I'm simply saying there's other places in the Bahamas to go to, which is the other islands for which we can develop an infrastructures in place. So let's look at developing Grand Bahama that has the ability to handle all 6 of those economic models that we talk about. And when we start talking about the intellectual capital in this new global dispensation, I just told you how you could build the economic model. So what we have to of no financing is they have to, and I tell individuals and I tell Graham, publish your idea in what is called an implementable strategy. I'm working on mine as leader of the United Democratic Party to put it in the public domain. But I encourage other individuals to reach out to individuals like myself and Graham or whatever else and become together as a collective intelligence and create an artificial demand for the change we're seeking. And so, yes, I could scream, we could put 20,000 rooms on Grand Bahama. Well, they asked me where's the 20,000 people who wants to move, own, and manage it. And that's where the problem is, because everybody else is now. So now that you are without a job, I invite you to find me across social media and ask, how can this be done? Now, if I can go in with a list of individuals that are demanding access to the capital. Let me say this again. Anybody with Graham mentioned this, talk about give everybody crown land. When you give them the crown land, I give you a loan against, you can't make the loan. Those same oligarchs end up owning it. Singapore and all these other places that we like to scream out, right? People don't own the land. So this whole concept of give everybody an acre of crown land for what? And so the point is that the crown land is yours already as part of a collective. What you need is constructive control of that valuable assets. Do you need the land, or do you need access to the capital for which you need to build on top of that land? And so we need to have succinct and contextual conversations concerning how do we leverage these assets that is necessary for us to build. And so and I have a very simple, Graham, you want a piece of land? I'll lease it to you. And here's what I'll do. Guarantee you the land will be renewed. We just require that you come back personally in 99 years to renew the lease. Okay, so, and so my question to you, are you planning on taking the land with you? Is 99 years or 50 years not suffice for you to recover your investment? In fact, the very investment I gave you for 0% interest? There's some opportunity for us to rethink and redefine this economy, and it isn't doing a blended version of the old ideas that we have. What technology in the new world requires is total disruption. Anybody who wants to enter the bed and breakfast right now, leveraging the data that we have in this place requires no down payment. They require access to the data sets that sits in tourism and sits in other places. Because if you want, let's use an example. If you have a 3-bedroom standalone bed and breakfast, that's 52 weeks. So you're asking me as a person to give you 156 individuals to live in your house for that year from among the 7 million people that you say came here to the Bahamas. Well, let's multiply 156 people by 20,000 and you're nowhere near the 7 million people. And so what it is redefining, reimagining what we have done before. I hear Graham talk about this conceptual economy all the time. Let me define the conceptual economy for people who may not know it. The conceptual economy is creation using imagination of that which does not exist. Plain and simple. It's the actual glue that holds together the other 5 economies. And so when you ask what is the best thing a person could have, is imagination. But it's taking known and unknown information and bringing it into reality, a new concept. And so the beauty about that is we have to begin to examine our position in the world with global warming and climate change. And this is something Ms. Eden Mary Gade has been speaking about, and this whole new concept she has called the aquamarine economy is taking these blended ideas and creating a new table for which we'll invite the world to sit at. and begin to have a dialogue. But we cannot keep going back to the old model of tourism or this concept of we need to expand the ghetto called New Providence. Because we don't, all the land in New Providence is already owned by a select group of people. So let's go to all these 39 or 29 other islands that's undeveloped, and Grand Bahama that has the infrastructure, and let's abandon them in their prison, let them keep their prison, and let's go build a new paradise on these other islands.
And it's something that I put out there at the beginning of the pandemic. It was the 5555 plan.
Mm-hmm.
If you say 5 islands, 5 cities, 5,000 people would move there, taking 5 family members. And what you would have just done is you would have gotten the congestion in New Providence to move. See, I'm not going to go to Eleuthera unless Governor's Harbor becomes a city.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so ironic. That was the first capital. That was the first parliament. And now it's just like any other settlement.
We're running out of time, but I want to read a couple of comments, and then we're going to give you guys a moment to wrap this thing up with your final thoughts. This comment is from Amos. Amos says, Bahamas bread and breakfast sounds good, Graham. And Patrice says, C. Allen, can we set up the Bahamas B&B model now? Let's do it privately.
No, I want to do it. Let me answer that quickly. I want to do that publicly. I want people to reach out to me to find out how they could be one of the 20,000 individuals that own those bed and breakfasts publicly. Because we need the Prime Minister to be able to respond to their demand as a collective.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's read one or two more. Trifina says, they are not afraid of you guys. They just don't want you guys in the house because you all know too much. They thrive off of ignorance. And Lily says, the government wants to keep the average man down. They only want to empower their own electives. Our banner reads, forward, upward, onward, together. All right, guys, we are just about out of time. I want to give you each 1 minute, 60 seconds to give us your final thoughts on the matter. C. Allen, let's start with you. 60 seconds, C. Allen. 60 seconds, starting now.
60 seconds. I can be found at allencjohnson.com, allencjohnson.com, 242-443-7189 on WhatsApp and across all social media. But Allen C. Johnson gives you all of my contact. I want you to know and believe that whatever is needed is within you, not outside of you. It also requires that we must begin to develop and build the Bahamas from the bottom up and outwards, as opposed from the trickle-down models that we've been using. So if we each reach out to us, and if any of you need directions on how to organize yourself, not me doing it for you, but organize individually and collectively yourself and your family, we could bring about the change that is necessary going forward.
Good job, C. Allen. Wow. All right. Graham, let's get your 60 seconds in.
Well, it's not going to take 60 seconds. You're going to have nothing if we sign on to the World Trade Organization. And you really should break that down and explain. KCX and C. Allen have done in-depth research. We're going to have nothing if we don't have energy security. If you can't keep the lights on, your cell phone doesn't work. And you can't have tech anything unless you have energy security. That's number one on my issue. Not that I love it, but it's got to be fixed. We have $3 trillion that's made in this country in goods and services, according to Brent Simonette's ministry, November 5th, 2018, NASA Guardian. I always have a copy. And I decided to run in St. Anne's because I wanted to quiz him on that in a live debate. Is it real? Can I get the breakdown of where this money is made and why it does not pay the 12% VAT I pay? Because that would be $1 billion a day. And with that, I could do any of the fantastical things C. Allen and I talk about. But I thought that Bahamas B&B, Tourism 2.0, where we own the tourism product, should have been done and implemented for the year of 2020, 2021. It's never too late. Let's start now. Let's fix the Bahamas, starting with tourism, because it's the biggest income globally.
All right, guys. Good job. You both kept it within the time. I want to say thank you. And obviously, we have to do a part 2 because we didn't cover nearly as much ground as I would have hoped in this first show. And our audience is saying We need to do a part 2 of this, and we definitely will, Lily. We definitely will. Maybe I can get these guys back on next week, Thursday, but we'll talk about it off air. All right, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Graham. Thank you, C. Alan Johnson, for your always brilliant ideas. And we will have a part 2 of this show for sure. That's going to do it, guys. I am Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining us on GPS today. Tomorrow is Friday. So you know what that means? TGIF. Time to look at the week that was. So we will give you an opportunity to get off your chest, whatever is on your mind. Join us for sure tomorrow morning so we can talk about this Bahamas that we live in. Until then, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.